The US is under invasion. Tens of thousands of illegal immigrants have descended on the United States southern border with a free pass into the mainland following weak border policies from the Biden administration. Governors from Texas to New York are pleading with the White House to slam shut borders urgently or face the destruction of entire cities by an influx of migrants and a lack of resources. Sky News All Stars James Morrow, Kristin, Tate and Liz Storer take a deep dive into the Biden administration's response to the border crisis. The US-Mexico border is under siege. Tens of thousands of illegal immigrants are flooding into America with no checks or paperwork, sending states to breaking point.
The crisis at the southern border is intensifying with tens of thousands of migrants crossing every week. Even more lined up at the border, and the numbers are telling the story. In August, Customs and Border Protection reported more than 232,000 migrant encounters, the highest on record, bringing the annual total to just over 2.2 million. Border cities like Eagle Pass and El Paso are now completely overwhelmed, and they're turning to state and federal officials for help.
The city of El Paso only has so many resources, and we have come to what we look at a breaking point right now.
The new surge could prompt more congressional action. On Monday, Congressman Tony Gonzalez, who represents Eagle Pass, is leading a delegation to meet with overworked border protection officers and see the crisis firsthand, warning the problem is spreading well beyond the border states.
Things continue to get worse locally. And oh, by the way, these people aren't staying in Texas. They're going to all parts of the country. So today it's Eagle Pass. Tomorrow it's your city.
Eagle Pass in Texas is the first port of call for migrants crossing the border. And according to Sky News All-Star James Morrow, the US government is actually encouraging illegal migrants to enter the country by intentionally destroying the barriers erected by Texas.
The Biden administration is also doing everything it can to facilitate the illegal border crossing crisis in the United States. Have a look at this. This is footage from Eagle Pass, Texas, which has just declared a state of emergency, and you can see thousands of migrants streaming into the United States from earlier this week when border officials literally opened the border to all comers. And I mean literally. Now, have a look at this. What you're seeing on your screen is video shared by the Office of Texas Governor Greg Abbott, and it shows federal Border Patrol officials removing razor wire that Texas had installed to try and stem at least some of the flow. And indeed, we know that such deterrence works, which is why the Biden administration is trying to get rid of it. In this footage you see here, a group of Venezuelans is working out their next move after finding out they can't cross at this particular point thanks to the razor wire, and that they should try again somewhere else. Now, the notion that maybe they should never have come at all apparently hasn't occurred to them, and it likely won't until a Republican takes over in the White House and gets serious about defending America's borders. Indeed, it seems like the White House has stopped paying even the least bit of lip service to the question of protecting America from the 10,000 illegal migrants coming into the country every day. That's, by the way, 300,000 a month now, which means more than 3 million a year at current rates.
Sky News All-Star Kristin Tate agrees, saying Joe Biden is to blame for welcoming the migrants in with his disastrous open border policies.
But we've never seen a surge like this. This is because the smugglers, the human smugglers, and pretty much everybody in Central America and Mexico realize that they've got to get in now, because this is the U.S. president who is welcoming them in and telling them, come on in, we don't have a border. Only 23% of Americans approve of the way Biden is handling the border. That's not just Republicans, that's all Americans. This is a disaster, and it's one of those things that's kind of abstract, or has been abstract, to a lot of coastal Americans who don't really deal with this problem firsthand. But as these sheer numbers, 10,000 a day in some cases, of people are coming across the border, they are going north, they are moving to these cities like New York, Boston, LA, and people who live in these places that typically haven't been impacted as much by illegal immigration are suddenly waking up and saying, hey, this is a topic we need to care about. This is a disaster. This needs to stop now.
And the migrants don't stop in Texas. Once they enter the mainland, they spread to all corners of the country, including New York City, where the mayor, Eric Adams, has issued a dire warning.
Never in my life have I had a problem that I did not see an ending to. I don't see an ending to this. I don't see an ending to this. This issue will destroy New York City.
The Biden administration has gone to great lengths to cover up the border crisis, with Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre downplaying the issue.
A record-setting 83,000 illegals crossed the border this week alone. That's more than 10,000 a day and equivalent to a full-capacity crowd at a Dallas Cowboys game. Yet, according to the Biden administration and its increasingly beleaguered spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre, everyone should move along. There's nothing to see here. At least that's the perception she would like to create.
Our message has been very clear for the past couple of weeks, especially as we've been putting this plan together, really for the past 2 years.
Yeah, think about that footage we saw there. And does this really look like a plan? I mean, here are scenes yesterday from where a crowd of Haitians was preparing to storm the border into Texas from Reynosa.
Jean-Pierre also deflected questions from journalists about the crisis and eventually downright refused to provide an answer.
What do you call it here at the White House when 10,000 people illegally cross the border in a single day?
So what do you call it, Peter, when GOP puts forth wait, no, you can't.
Karine?
I'm answering. Okay, we're gonna move
You're
on.
answering
No,
okay.
we're moving on.
Karine,
We're moving.
please.
In the back.
You said you were stopping the flow at the border.
No. I tried to
10,000
answer, Peter.
okay.
I tried to answer the question. You stopped me. Let's go.
Biden's border disaster has sent his approval ratings plummeting, with the American people losing faith in the president's ability to control the situation.
There's just this simple question of job approval. Barely 40% approve of Joe Biden's performance.
And we have to note 56%. That's the highest disapproval rating for President Biden since he took office. That's significant.
One big area, no surprise, it is the economy. Look at this contrast. This is April of 21, months after Biden took office. Nearly half the country was satisfied with where the economy was then. Now, barely 1 in 4 Americans satisfied.
Sky News All-Star Liz Storer says Biden's weak response could cost him big time.
Well, will failure to secure the Mexican border end up costing Biden big time? This is the big question. We're seeing it starting to reflect in the poll among many of his other sins. But looking at this Reuters poll right here, it's just from last weekend. It's beginning to show a red wave covering America. Ooh, I hope it stays that way. Look at it. You love to see it. Most recently, a Texan town declared a state of emergency when their population, all of a sudden, close to half its population just surged across the border. There was a Reuters headline in May saying that border crossings had maxed out to 10,000 a day. We're really talking about a genuine influx that are just, look at them, helping themselves over the border unhindered.
And in true Donald Trump form, the former president has used the situation to slam Joe Biden's response.
The time for talk is over. Now is the time for action.
Trump also put forward his own pitch, saying he will terminate the border policy of the Biden administration.
I will terminate every open borders policy of the Biden administration and begin the largest deportation operation in American history.